how would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have the queen of retreats, Dr. Sheri, and she is amazing. And Sheri is the founder and chief retreat strategy. Wow, I love this title. At Wanderlust Entrepreneur, where she's help heart-centered entrepreneurs create transformational, profitable, I like this word a lot, retreats. With over 2 decades of experience in the retreat industry, she had the honor of working with top names, including Don Miguel Ruiz, author of the Four Agreement. So listen carefully. She trained and empowered over 20,000 retreats leading to design, price, promote, and monetize transformational retreats that leave a lasting impact while traveling the world and earning a profit to be proud of. So tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Well, thank you, first of all, Harry,
Pleasure.
for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to this. So, yeah, let's dive in. So, I have a little different point of view about things. So, hopefully, this is
Good.
helpful. Hopefully, it's helpful to everyone. So, my first thing I would say is always make sure when you're starting a business that you have a financial backup plan. And the reason I'm saying this is especially with the people I work with, those heart-based entrepreneurs they want to help so much. When they start bringing in money, lack energy into their business because they feel like they need to make money this second, I don't feel like that's a good way to begin a business. Like, for example, when I started this business, and I've had several before, including being a physician, I made sure I was working a couple of days a week for a friend of mine so that there was no financial pressure. My head was clear just to put all of my energy into creating my business the way that it should be created. So I think a lot of people feel like, are they going to be a millionaire in 2 months? And that they're just going to
It
throw
doesn't really
things
work
out
like
there.
this, right?
It does not at all work like this.
Absolutely. I love this
So,
point. I'm a big fan. Love it.
yeah.
Great tip,
So I
actually.
think this is a critical issue. So
Oh,
first and
yes.
foremost, be in the right position to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one. You want
Keep
me to keep
going.
going? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Step
Okay.
number 2.
Number two, keep the end in mind. So by that, I mean, whenever we start a business, we should have in the back of our mind, how are we going to leave the business? Because a lot of times people build their business without an end in mind. They can't sell their business because they're not set up in a way that someone can actually purchase their business. And I think as an entrepreneur, we need to always, when we're starting, think of what is this going to look like at the end so that you have something that you can actually sell after all that hard work you put into your business. So that is a very important thing that almost nobody thinks about, having the end in mind. Okay, number 3 would be get clear on the outcome you want to create, meaning what do you help people do? Be clear about that. I find, especially with the people that I work with, they just want to help, make things better, make life better. That doesn't sell. They're not specific. What outcomes are going to happen from your help? Be very clear on that outcome and make sure that that outcome is what your ideal audience wants. because sometimes I've seen people, they want to teach something, but they haven't done any market research to find out if that
There
person
is a need
wants
for it.
that. It's like, all right, I
And how much
understand
they're
you want
willing
to.
to pay.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have to do market research. I get that you have something in your heart you want to share, but you still need to check the market. What do people want? What do they feel they need? What do you think they really need? And so, at the intersection of what they need and what you want to share, somewhere there is where your business is going to be. And so, I think you need to be very clear about that. And the more heart based the person is, the more sometimes woo woo sounding it all is. And people buy solutions to problems. So they need to be really clear on the outcome that they want to create for people and make sure those people want that outcome. So that, I would say, would be number 3. Number 4 for me is always finding out the shortest path to cash, meaning, how can I set my business up? What's the structure going to be that I can scale the most easiest and that I can grow the fastest? So, a lot of people I deal with are coaches. Well, one-on-one coaching to me is not really the fastest path to cash. It to me, it's like being a physician. You only can see so many patients in a day. It's the
100%.
same thing with your coaching. It's not a scalable model. So to think about, what can I do and share? How can I package it or do whatever with it that it's scalable, fast, and that you can get that solution for your people in a reasonable amount of time. So figuring that out changes everything, because the people who are clear on that, they're the ones that are going to hit 7 figures as fast as possible, not like one little step at a time, like trying to get a coaching client and trying to get another coaching client. I would slit my wrists if that happened. Like, I'm not a patient person. I'm a crazy Aries. And so, yeah, that wouldn't work for me, Harry. And the 5th thing I would say, once you've got all that figured out, is surround yourself with people who are doing better than you and be open to listen to them, because you always have to have your plan expanding to keep growing your business. And people who are out there making 6, 7, 8 figures, these people have already made all the mistakes you'll probably make. If you can surround yourself by people who are doing well, you can learn from them and avoid a lot of trouble that you might have if you didn't do that. So that is what the 5 main things for me that I would say are critical looking back at my own businesses.
That's really powerful. And I mean, the retreats are, I think that you're one of the first pioneers of this business model, because they haven't been around that long. I think that is a fantastic way for to offer a different experience to your clients. And again, it's a one too many process rather than one on one. So we are very aligned here at the speakers. At least we train people how to speak in public. It's the same dynamic rather than one on one, one too many. So everything that people can do in a business that is one too many, of course, you have leverage, and you can easily scale. So where this passion for retreats came, because in your previous life, like you described, you were a physician, and then you decided to drop that and become an entrepreneur. Do you really thought this properly? You know how much money physicians make in United States? You can live like no headache, happy
Nope.
life, holiday, Saturday and Sunday, and resting. You decide to drop all this and to become an entrepreneur. Do you have any entrepreneur in your family?
Uh, no, I didn't
No.
actually, but
did,
here's the
did
thing
anyone
that
tell you that it was no good idea around you when you
yeah.
decided?
Well, don't
Yeah, welcome to
forget.
the club. Welcome to the club. We all been there.
Well, Harry, don't forget having your own practice is still being
There
an
you go.
entrepreneur, right?
Exactly.
It's
So,
still a business. You've got to grow your practice. You got to get clients.
mm,
You've got to run your
wow,
business
you were running your own
efficiently.
practice then. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So where this entrepreneurial vibe came from? From family, from friend? Did you open a book, a TV show you saw?
No,
Uh, no,
no, no. Just
no,
have it in me.
within yourself.
I
Very
don't
good.
like being an employee. I like doing my own thing. So
Okay,
that's
let me share something that will make you happy. Out of the 500 millionaires that we have interviewed in this broadcast so far, we find out that it's within yourself. Have nothing
yeah.
to do with your family, nothing to do
No,
with anything. Have only something to do that we definitely are. We're not good employees because we always have something behind our mind that we can do better, and that's why we become entrepreneurs. So welcome to a club, yeah,
thank you.
and it's a lot of fun
It,
club. It's and however, so you never work for anybody, never. When you
well,
finish university, you did work, right?
I
Very
did,
good.
but and yes, so I did in the beginning of my career, but
So
after
what
that,
happened? What happened when you decide that having this job is not a good thing and you want to run your own practice?
I just feel like I feel better and can do I always look at what's happening at in the market, see what is suffering, and like you said, do it better. That's what I did when I moved from New York down to Florida and opened my practice down there. I could see what people were lacking and made up for that in my own business. But the reason I went from medicine to this is there was a little segue in between. So what happened
Tell
was
us. We
I
want to know.
okay, I practiced for 18 years. I created a surgical residency program. I taught surgery. I
Wow.
left all of that behind because I was unhappy and I couldn't figure out why. And so I started studying with Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the Four Agreements. At that time, it had just made the New York Times seller list because Oprah got her hands on the book. And of course, you know what happens from
Mhm.
there. So I started studying with him, and then he hired me. I worked for him for 2 of the 8 years I studied with him, and I
You
ran
started
his
with him 8
business.
years. Wow.
Yes, it changed my life,
I can tell.
everything about it. And so what ended up happening is while I worked for him for those 2 years, I ran all of his retreats and booked all of his speaking engagements. So I learned a lot. And then he ended up having a heart attack and I went back out
Oh
on
wow.
my own. I was still studying with him, but I opened my own business. I opened my own travel agency and then coaching business to teach the four agreements. I did that for like around 11, 12 years, wrote 3 books. And then I felt I needed a change. So I exited that business and started Wanderlust Entrepreneur, which started in 2014. So that's I've been doing this Wanderlust Entrepreneur since 2014. I still have my travel agency that
Wow.
I started in 2003.
Wow. That's very impressive. And now let's talk about retreats because some maybe the some of our audience have maybe hear about it, but they don't understand it fully. So
Okay.
basically, is to deliver an experience to your clients, and it's an excellent how we can call it an add-on. There is two ways to grow a business, right? You either have more clients or you can offer more products to the clients that you already have relationship with. And retreats happen to be one exceptional and outstanding add-on product, especially if you're a coach, a mentor, and you are in this space. However,
Yes,
you need to know what you're doing because it's very easy to lose money.
exactly.
So tell us a little bit more. Tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly of the retreats.
Exactly. So here's the thing. For me, I have a very particular point of view about retreats. First of all, I feel like they need to be deeply experiential,
100%.
and the location needs to align with what you are teaching so that the location can help teach
Yeah, yeah.
what you are
Definitely, you
sharing.
cannot run a meditation retreat in London when I live, right?
Yeah, that
And
would be
then,
hard, right? So you want it
need to
like
go
if
to
you're doing
Bali, something like that, right?
perhaps, yes. So if you're teaching, for example, people how to speak in public, maybe you want to go to a place that has an amphitheater that you can use for your group so they can speak on the stage in the amphitheater in the energy of the ancient people. Or maybe you're
It's a great
doing
idea,
a,
huh? Oh,
yes, or
you're
maybe
good. You're brilliant in what you do.
or let's say you want to do a knitting retreat
Mm-hmm.
and you take your people to New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
and when they're shearing the sheeps and you go through the entire process going from the
Wow.
wool from the sheep to the, cleaning the wool to brushing the wool to making the skeins
What
to
experience, right?
yes, exactly.
It's all about the
So
experience.
yes, because right now people want to feel something when they travel. They don't want to look from a bus anymore. That's long gone since the pandemic. So we don't want to create experiences like that. And of course, you want to create some sort of transformation on the trip. So in your
Mm-hmm.
own mind,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
know how you can take people from point A to point B during that retreat, both with what you're sharing verbally, but what they are actually experiencing, because you want them to have that balls to bones experience, not just this. You want them to experience something with their body, their heart, their mind, their soul, all of that. And so if you do that, then it creates so much value on the retreat. You can actually charge something proper. Now, there's another thing I want to say about this, Harry. People actually have been doing retreats for a long time. When I first started, way back when, like in 1998, going on a retreat, back then they were either
1998, the retreats were around. Wow.
oh yeah, for a long time. Before that, people did, for example, church retreats,
Oh, wow.
retreats
Mm-hmm.
or maybe spiritual retreats. But now, like in my community, we have people that do any and every kind of retreat you can think of. For example, we have a couple who lost a child. They want to do retreats for parents who have lost children. Um, we have LGBT, retreats.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have retreats for people recovering from cancer. We have retreats for women with Hashimoto's disease. If there is a group that is experiencing something, you can build a retreat around it. So it does not have to be what people think as, oh, it has to be a yoga retreat. Well, yeah, we're familiar with yoga retreats, but that's not what most people are thinking about. There are business retreats. There are I'm telling you, every kind of retreat you could possibly think of.
Yeah.
How about a knife retreat where you go to Japan and learn how they actually make knives? Maybe you're a collector of knives, you like to cook, you
Sushi
want to
retreats. How to
understand.
learn how to do sushi. One of my favorite foods.
Yeah, me too. Me too,
Yeah.
Harry.
So,
So
wow.
this is what most people don't realize about retreats. But like you said, you can lose money on them. So that's why
Oh,
we're
yeah.
always focusing
I
on
never done it,
the
but I've been thinking about it deeply.
okay. Yes. So we can conceptualize them and have a great concept, but then we have to price them properly. We have
100%.
to market them properly, and then we have to think about monetizing them. So you have these people who have become so close to you during the event. It would be nice to have some upsell at the end so that they can continue their transformational journey with you. And so many people don't think like that. They create a retreat and offer nothing, and then the
Yeah.
people go back to their lives and
And
it
that's it.
sucks.
And so yeah, I think that uh something really especially for our listeners, that there are our entrepreneurs, people that want to be entrepreneur, and particularly this community, the entrepreneurs. We want all the entrepreneurs to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. Right? We believe
Yeah.
that the three things are possible. And you are an entrepreneur, as you can see, the entrepreneur life is quite lonely, right? That's why you have
Yes.
masterminds group. That's why you have there is a community of entrepreneurs that we are a minority of the minority. I think only 2% of the population are entrepreneurs. So, and usually they are introverts. They have to have their own. Uh, how can I share with you? They won't be able to if you go out to a public place, for example. That's what I find out when I started to my first business. I went out with friends for a drink, and everybody was saying, "Oh, this is my job. I'm doing this. Oh, this is my job. I'm doing this. I met this person at work, blah blah." And I said, "Guys, you're not gonna believe I open a business and I'm making money and whatever." Nobody cares. So very quickly I realized that wow, this is gonna be tough, because I cannot go out with my friends anymore. they they don't. So I'm about to lose all my friends. And then you have your family on the other hand. Why you went to university and now you want to use this thing? Can you make money like this? Why you don't find a job? So, and on top of that, you're building exactly what you described, which I think is the most effective way. I remember back then in London, I was doing room service in the Hilton. And first 2 years, I was working the pub in Britannia, Houston station. And then at the end, when I made the transition to the room service in the Hilton, I was building my business parallel at the same time that I was doing my room service in
Yes.
job in the Hilton. And this is how everything started. The property business that we did, we managed to sell over 5 million. However, it's exactly as you described. You do it parallel because you might think that you like to be an entrepreneur. However, if you do in parallel and you have your job on the other side, you can really deep into this and you really can find out if you really want to do this, because
Yes.
your life is about to become a roller coaster. It's not for everyone. I remember I have a girlfriend back in the day when I started my first business, and the mother was telling him, "I don't see any security with this guy. This is the guy you want to marry." And I was telling him, "Well, it seems that I'm a good person. I'm funny, but security around me, I don't think this opening and closing business all the time." Anyway, so however, it comes out that the more experience you can give to your clients, the more loyalty you have this client for life. The client become, which is I think the most powerful outcome of this retreat, is that your clients become your fan. They
Yes.
are they will they will carry the flag with you, and they will tell more people, look, this is amazing. You see, I'm learning, and at the same time I'm having a break. I'm having a different experience, completely different out there. Especially entrepreneurs, they want to go on holiday with entrepreneurs. Do you think entrepreneurs want to go on holiday in a cruise with People that are not entrepreneurs to talk about, nobody will talk to them. They have nothing to talk
Well,
about. They only can
Harry,
talk about sales, marketing, growing business, employees. Who want to speak with an entrepreneur in a cruise?
ex-
So
exactly. I have a cruise that I'm running
I
this
believe
August
you.
for entrepreneurs. And we're going to
Absolutely,
be on that
100%.
boat in Croatia on a yacht that I rented. And we're just going to be talking about business. And we're going to
Exactly.
enjoy every minute of it.
Oh yes, this one I can tell you that there is a demand for it because because who especially for entrepreneurs and I think for every community you're right 100%. It's all about a more and more business secular. You said like no, I want to just help people and I just have a message that I want to share. um well, if you really want this to work, you have to create an amazing experience, and that's
Exactly.
the end of it. And then you will be able to share whatever you want with the world and whatever you feel. And definitely, you will be able to make it sustainable because I organize events all over the world, and a retreat is an event. Is I don't. I mean, it's not a big event. Well, depends how many people you want to have, but I presume that if it's 15, 20 people, maybe 50, uh, it's like a small, medium-sized event, but it goes into the event category. So when you jumping in this category, you definitely need a mentor and a coach. This I can tell you for sure, because when something goes wrong with the event, it's not cheap. Yeah, and
No.
especially if you book hotels, if you book yachts, you have to make sure you're selling your product. That you that's about this process a little bit. So for the people to that they are listening, how you do that, right? Because for me, for example, if we're gonna do an event in Singapore or or in any part of the world, and we're in London, right? We have a team there. Number one. Number two, we've been there already several times and we have done events with 50 people, with 20 people. We've been in the ground. We know the cost of the hotels. We know everything. And then when we have all the logistics in place and everything, then we go back to London. Then we're going to put 200, 300 people in Singapore. We already know the mechanics. We already know the hotel or the room that we're going to use, which is going to be cost effective, that is centric. So, and I still, even though we used to do this, is risky because marketing is expensive, especially and now the COVID is even worse.
Yeah.
Is getting very expensive to get people out of the house. I think that people start to learn about this Zoom and this and that, and all of a sudden, all these experiential events that before COVID, I don't know, they were more popular. Now is becoming, in my opinion, 3 to 5 times more expensive. Yeah, it will is going down. Is going down, but have been very intense these years after COVID to get people out of the house. So how you plan this effectively? How you can mitigate your risk? What if you hide the amazing hotel? And because you do need to hire before you market the retreat, because otherwise, how you gonna tell them what the retreat is gonna be? And and then
Exactly.
how do you know that you're gonna sell? What if you only end up only yourself in the retreat? How much budget you need to have in order to market this properly?
Yeah.
So
Well,
anything you can share with us? Any
we
secrets?
have we have a way of figuring that out. So that's part of what I teach in the
Wow.
pricing aspect, because a lot of people will go, well, I can sign a contract with this retreat center or this venue, but I have to guarantee this many people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't do that because you really don't know unless you have a great following and you've been
You
doing
dead
the
before arrival if you do that.
so there's like I created this spreadsheet that figures out how you should really be pricing your retreats so that
Mhm.
even if you have less people come, you still make the outcome
100%.
You
100%.
make,
For our gala awards, when I'm negotiating with the hotel, I think if we expecting 300 to 400 people, I'm negotiating with the hotel that I only can guarantee 100. And they are, can you guarantee 200? No, I only can guarantee 100, and we are aiming for 400. So imagine. And we always do the deal like that, right? Like, okay, we
yeah,
guarantee you 100, we are
yeah,
aiming for 400, so we make sure that the
yeah,
room can remove the things in between so the whole thing can expand. And we
exactly.
always ask the question, okay, we bring 200, 300, maybe 400 people. Do you think that you can accommodate and scale the price? We're happy to pay more because, of course, we need to pay for more food and whatever. But do we have flexibility to expand the thing? And
Yeah,
if the answer is yes, and we got as minimum commitment as possible and the largest flexibility, this is a good hotel that we were with, and we have
exactly.
several in London and well, in the world that can accommodate that. So the place in this business, I think, is key. What do you think?
Yes.
This is
Yes.
this is this is definitely one
Yeah,
of the things that had to be sorted properly, right?
exactly. Exactly.
But
So,
now, how you sell it if nobody knows you? This is gonna be your first retreat. Nobody knows you. You're just a coach. You decided to that this is something that you wanna do. You want to help people. You want to have fun. You want to travel the world. This sound amazing. So how you sell this for? How much? If nobody knows you.
well, it doesn't, the price is the price. Price is based
Mhm.
on total expenses plus what you want to net. There's no
Mhm.
negotiation on this side. You know, your cost is your cost. That's what it is.
Absolutely. So you
So,
have to price effectively.
well, you have to find a venue that's effective for you. If you want the
Mhm.
price to be a certain price, you still have to charge what you want to net. So you always have that. But it's you need to be very careful when you're doing that so that, you know, if you, for example, your audience is young mothers, then you're not going to make something, you're not going to choose a five-star hotel. That's not going to work because the
100%.
price of the retreat is going to be too high for them. So you really, that doesn't change your net because your net is still your net, but the costs change based on the venue. So you want to make sure that the venue is proper for your ideal client, and that's the only way you really can do that. So you want to make sure you're in the right place and that that trip will end up in a price range that people, your people, can afford. Because I've seen retreats be like $50,000. I've seen retreats be $1,000. So it all depends on the kind of experience you want to create for your people. But you just have to be really careful and understand those aspects. And that's a lot of what we teach. Also, there's laws regarding retreats because this is why most entrepreneurs will do a live event from the stage. They will separate out the cost of the venue. So the client will pay for the venue and their food, and they're just being charged for the event itself. When you do a retreat, you tend to put everything together because people like all inclusives. However, in many places, they have seller of travel law, which means when you package together your room, your food, maybe a ride to the airport and back, and maybe a ride to different activities, now you've created a tour. And so you come under different legal, you know,
Entity. Huh.
entity. Yeah. And
Interesting.
and for example, in Canada, if you're in Ontario, you actually cannot run a retreat unless you run it through a travel agency. You cannot take money for a retreat or they will shut you down. They're actually very strict in
Absolutely.
Ontario.
How about
So the
US?
different US, we have 4 states that have seller of travel law, which is why I became a travel agency in 2003, because one of those states is Florida, and that's where my corporation is based. So to do my retreats legally, I just decided I'm going to become a travel agency. And I have the proper insurance, because that's another issue. Because if you take a group out of the country, like let's say what I'm doing, I'm taking a group to Croatia and I rented this yacht. Well, once I leave the US, I don't have insurance. My normal professional and general liability insurance is not going to take care of me on that boat because it's a tour. So you need tour operator insurance, but that's the proper insurance to use so that you are covered if something happens to somebody.
100%.
So there are all these different aspects that play into doing retreats that most people don't really understand. And you can get yourself in a
In big
pile of
trouble.
trouble if you don't, because if someone sues you or something happens or someone, breaks a leg or dies
Mhm.
or, you're dealing with people, all kinds of things happen. I've seen it. I've been doing this since I started managing Domingo Ruiz's retreats back in 2000. So I've seen it. We've been managing and creating retreats through my travel agency for years. So
Of all
I've
kinds, right?
excuse me?
Managing retreats of all kinds, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Whether
So
in US and abroad, right?
correct. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, why you so passionate about it?
Why? Oh, anyone who does a retreat would say the exact same thing. It's when you see people's faces when they first arrive and then see their face when they leave, and just feel their energy shift over that period of time. It's remarkable. And you're changing lives, and then they take that home and change other lives. And so there's something very heartwarming and special about it. And once people do a retreat and have that experience, they tend to get hooked, and that they want to keep running retreats because they love seeing the people change. And it changes you. So it's not just the change in the people who are attending, but it's the transformation that happens within you that's also just as powerful.
Fantastic. And talking about the experience, right? Different groups will love different experience. And let's say in the category entrepreneur, we have entrepreneurs that love to have fun. We have another entrepreneurs that are more introverted. So when you designing a I mean, you want everybody to enroll in the same dynamic. For example,
Yeah.
we when we do our workshops, they are full of energy. There are a lot of music. They definitely have a lot of fun. We dance a lot, we jump a lot, we learn a lot. So um, regardless that you are shy or not, inside that context, when we do a workshop, everybody have fun, right?
Yeah.
So someone that an entrepreneur that is more serious, that they don't like this fun and having a energy, um, they won't be able to last too long in our community because we are loud and we like to have fun and jump and be creative and speak, right? So how you can start to find, we always said that the riches are in the niches. So how you can define that
Yes.
category in entrepreneurs, right? That some of them prefer to learn and have a little bit less of experience. Some of them they really want this as a holiday and maybe just to learn a little bit, but they just want to relax with a comfortable group of people. So how you package this without knowing uh, what is going to have the biggest demand?
No, because you have to decide what you want your retreat to be. It's not about the other people. It's about you knowing what you want to do as far as on your retreats and how you want them to be. And then you have an amazing sales page that attracts your perfect ideal client so that that energy pulls in the proper people so that you have a great group of people that are aligned. You all know what you're there for and what to expect. I always meet with my group ahead of time so that we can talk and get to know each other. And I set the rules so people know how to behave and what
Rules
the,
are very important because in the absence of rules, everybody create their own rule, right?
yes.
Very
So we
important
get
for
clear. Yep, we get clear. And that way it's much easier. And I find that retreats, because they're so intimate, I would never go on a retreat with someone I didn't know leading the
100%.
retreat. Okay, so you asked me a little earlier about, if you're new and you're creating your retreat,
Exactly. Nobody knows you and you want to create your first retreat.
no, but you've got to grow your following because
Mm.
those are the people who are going to come because they know, like, and
There you
trust you.
go.
Who is going to spend thousands of dollars with somebody they don't know? I
Uh,
wouldn't. If I'm
uh,
going to travel with you, I
uh,
better the hell know who you are, what you're like, what you teach, how you share, and your perspective and point of view before I'm going on a trip with you.
mhm.
So, whether you're new or not, you still have to start growing your following. And even if you've been around a while, you always have to keep growing your following because there's always attrition and, people move on. And so you want to grow your following all the time so that when you have a retreat, you sell it to your list. That way you don't have to spend a lot of money advertising.
That's fantastic. So, any tips how to grow a community for our listeners?
Absolutely. Actually,
Especially
Harry,
if you're
we did.
starting out. Let's say that you are in
Yes.
a knitting group, right? And you want to do a retreats about knitting and this is something that you want to pursue because you want to have fun and you want to travel and you want to you're passionate about so you want other people passionate about to get together and learn from each other so how they can start.
We have a great community. I can give you some resources afterwards, Harry, that you can share with everybody. But we've got a great website. We've got a lot of free resources for people
Tell
who are
us, tell
just
us,
starting
tell
out.
us. If somebody's in love with this conversation, how they can find you, how this process work. What was
Yes.
the website?
So, okay, we have
You don't tell
Wanderlust.
me later. You tell us now.
To tell you now. So we have Wanderlust Entrepreneur,
Okay.
and that is the website. And we've got a great blog. We've got some free webinars they can sign up for there. We've
Where in the
got
website?
on the website. We have some great downloads they can get of some really great information if they're just starting out. The community we have on Facebook's fantastic. We also, they can sign up for, we do something called the Retreat
How was the name of the
Hotline.
community in Facebook that they can join?
It, it has a long name.
Uh,
So I will give you the links for that.
okay.
That way you have it. But we have a great community there. We have a retreat hotline that we do every Tuesday at noon, New York time. And people can
Wow,
join in and
retreat
ask questions.
hotline. That's fantastic. So you can
Yes.
ask
So,
questions, right?
yes, exactly. So there are many ways, and I can give you those resources if you want to put them in
Thank
the
you.
show notes.
Absolutely.
I'll
Absolutely
send
would.
it to you. But the website has a lot of information there. They can get the free trainings. They can have, there's a few downloads that are really wonderful they can have. They have the retreat hotline and we've got all kinds of things. Once a year, we do a big online event. We had 5,000 people there last month and it was really great. We do that every spring. So if they get on the list, they'll get an invite for that. We have lots of things going on all the time. We've got the cruise to Croatia this August 22nd through the 29th. We've got lots
It's
of things going
fantastic.
on.
It's fantastic, Croatia. So beautiful especially in this uh,
Summer.
in this summer. Yeah, yeah, it's so beautiful there. Wow, I think you're fantastic, and I think that we always discuss in this podcast, right? That lots of entrepreneurs they take most of the income or the budget for marketing, right? In order to acquire new clients, right? In order to bring more strangers to your business, and they don't give enough importance to nurture the client base that you already have.
Yes.
And this client base that you already have, if you build relationship with this client base, if you nurture them, if you offer them something like a retreat, right? Listen carefully. Even if you break even if you don't make any money, uh, as a
But they
customer
will.
appreciation. Well,
They
but
will if they listen
even
to
if they
me.
don't make, listen, even if they break even, as a customer appreciation experience, you're gonna get a lot of free marketing and a lot of free new
Yes.
clients that you will pay
Yeah.
zero for it, because imagine that they will tell the friend you're not gonna believe. I got invited. I'm a client of this with this business, and I got invited, and it was an amazing experience. And we were there, and we make new friends, and they delivered an amazing experience.
Exactly.
And everybody all of a sudden is asking, "What this business? Can I become a client also?" So in the customer acquisition process, yeah, we always talk about how you can make it profitable, right?
Yeah.
And definitely doing retreats if you know what you're doing. Okay, this is something that my opinion, you don't learn by trial and error. You really need a mentor in this one, because you are in the in the events space, and I think what we had shared here can tell you a little bit more that this is something amazing, something that you actually can make good money and deliver good experience for your clients. But you really need to know what you're doing before jumping into the pool, because this is something that doing events internationally and even local is something that you really need to know, right?
Absolutely.
Last message. Last message for all entrepreneurs and wanna be entrepreneurs that are listening.
Well, they need to get off their butts and have a beautiful retreat for their clients, because it will make a big difference in their business. People are going to travel anyway. They're either going to travel with you or someone else.
100%.
So it might as well be you. And you can make money on the retreat and on whatever you're selling for them afterwards. And a lot of people do a high-end mastermind afterwards, and they make money from their retreat and then another few $100,000 afterwards. So it can be very profitable if done correctly. And if done incorrectly, you can lose money.
Oh,
So
yes.
that's why we're so passionate about teaching people how to design and price and market and monetize their retreats safely and legally. So that is what our passion is and what we do best. And we love to help entrepreneurs do that and put themselves out there in that way. So happy to help in any way. If someone's listening and is like, oh my God, I need to do my retreat this year, find me. We will help you.
And definitely we will be sharing the links, right?
Yes.
For more information and resources. Thank you so much. That has been fantastic. I think you're brilliant, and I think that the fact that you're helping people out there, mentor them in this process is really really helpful, because this is something that like I said before, we organize events all over the world, and it's good to have a mentor that kind of guide you a little bit with the logistic, with the things that can go wrong. So like this, you diminish your risk before you start to do everything on your own. A little bit of having a mentor and a coach in this space will get you a long way. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Harry,
Pleasure.
because
I
I
think you're
love
brilliant.
talking about this.
I
I
think you're
really
brilliant.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you really know what you're talking about, and you're really passionate about it. So thank you so much for joining, and for all of you following the broadcast on Stop. I will see you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneur like Sheri break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.